Hi everyone, this is Ninar and Katrien. Hi Katrien, how are you today?
Hi, Nina. I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome everyone to the Art of Being Women. And today we're going to be discussing a very, what I call a light subject, fun. It could be toxic, but it's mainly like supposed to be something really, truly important in people's lives and especially in women's lives, friendships. Friendship among women or men or, between men and women. So, Katrien, this was both a subject that both you and I picked. So you want to go
Mhm.
ahead and start with anything you want to lead on with?
Sure. I mean, yes, friendship. It's an easy yet very complicated thing. I have had periods in my life where friendships have been incredibly important to me and where without them, I probably would not have succeeded. Going from my childhood to my early adulthood to, taking care of my mom and needing friendships then to recently with my illness. And yeah, I mean, friendships, I always call it my tribe of women because you need to be able to fall back upon someone in times of need. And if you can trust somebody and you know that you can trust them 100%, then that's a wonderful thing.
So do you
How
think
about you?
these friendships that you were talking about, were they friendships with women only? And do you think women are capable to offer more support or even share life's milestones with women better than men?
I think so. I mean, for me personally speaking, and I know that there are women, I don't know about you, maybe you can fill us in on this, but I do not have any male friends. I feel that there is too much of an added pressure, if I could call that, if there is some kind of, attraction or whatever. I don't have male friends. How about you?
So interesting. It's the when Harry met Sally question, right? That movie, the classic. That was the big question of the movie, and we saw how
Mhm,
after 8 years of friendships, we
mhm,
could see as viewers that there was something between them all the time, right? And at the end,
mhm,
yes, the answer, and I even like I had a class in film school about that film, and the answer is that it didn't work. They had to be a couple at the end. So I agree with you that it could be an added pressure. What's interesting in my case is that growing up, I had more male friends. I used to not get along with women friends. And because of maybe, I don't know if it's the cultural thing or if it's just the age where there's a lot of competition and younger, you have, more competition, less self-confidence, uh, more edginess. You're not calm and quiet as of the middle age, and you're not, as self-confident. So the competition really is what's leading these friendships with women, whereas men come as, under the appearance of just more harmonious. But you do discover with different friendships with men that A, there are hidden intentions, and B, they really, I mean, there comes a point in life where they just don't understand you the way women do. So I can say that right now, and I started feeling that like a decade ago, I started feeling the need to have women friends. It just felt
mhm,
different. It felt the
mhm,
understanding, the support, the celebrating life, not just in bad
mhm,
moments. It felt that
mhm.
it was a different uh, scenario. It was a different, kind of I have the word in French. I
You can say it in French.
hope we can say it. Like kindness, a kind of like, better understanding, better atmosphere.
Mhm. I have to say, now that you mentioned that as a child, that you had a lot of guy friends, I actually did have a lot of guy friends as well. I would say till I was, well, I definitely had a lot of them, when I was a teenager. I say it would probably started to change around my mid-20s. Yeah. And also when I started to, be more involved with other men, young men then. Um, it might also be because of the fact that once you are involved with somebody, it tends to get a little bit more complicated because then you have that side relationship who is also male, and not everybody can deal with, their partner having
Yes.
another friend from the opposite sex, obviously. So yeah, I can follow you on that. Yeah. But for me, that totally changed in my mid-20s. Yeah.
Yes, and not to be fully honest and cover the entire story. Some of my best friends today are still men, but there are things that I can never share with them. There are things that they can't
Oh.
understand, and even though I have the best times with them, this is something I share with them. I say,
Yeah.
like I've been
Yeah.
really needing to sit with girls. I've been really needing to just like laugh with girls, and
Hmm.
that's how it gradually, changed. And now it feels like really a healthy balance because you're wiser, you're learning. So, really, you see it's more that it really doesn't, you question immediately if there's a male wanting friendship, like
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
friendship that they want, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
On the point you
Yeah.
mentioned about like, if you have male friends and how many,
Hmm.
partners will accept that, and vice versa, if a man has
Hmm.
female friends, so many
Yeah.
people these days
Absolutely.
take it as normal. I see couples, whether married or not, and he has a best girlfriend and she has a best male friends, and I find it weird. I find it difficult, even if sometimes that best friend is divorced or married, or an ex, that's
Maybe
even
it's even worse
worse.
when they're divorced. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah. When the opposite sex is single. Yeah.
No, I think in all cases, I mean, we've talked once when we were talking about singlehood and women, like how we can get shut off by couples who are married. You're not integrated in their
Mm.
gatherings. I think it was a personal discussion, not on the show. So at least I understand if there's fear from single best friend, and that's what I'm pointing out. But also the fact if they're divorced or if they're married, maybe they think that's a good cover, but I think it still creates discomfort for the partner. Um,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that their other half can really bond that much with another person
Yeah.
from the other sex. I find it
The
like,
other
I
sex.
don't know, call me old fashioned, but I find it very
Oh, yeah.
borderline disrespectful and not really attending to the person's feelings.
Yeah. So if we talk about friendships amongst women, what would you say are your real necessities? What is a perfect friend to you?
Wow, nice question. A perfect friend is someone you can call when you're not feeling well and they're able to lift you up. Even if it's just by listening, you feel better after, hanging up the phone or having coffee with them. Someone who's emotionally intelligent and knows how to say the right thing without judgment, and someone you can also go to celebrate a happy moment because you're not worried about competition and envy, and you can share your dreams with. That kind of,
Hmm.
you know what about you?
I think that part of the no judgment, yeah. So the non-judgment part is very, very important to me. And I do fortunately have quite a few friends who they will tell me their opinion, but they are never judgmental. And it's always very constructive. It's never negative or so in that sense, I'm actually very lucky. And I try not to be judgmental myself either. I mean, you can have your opinions, but you don't necessarily have to judge someone. The part of the competition is where it becomes, is this really friendship? Because again, in my opinion, a real friend, you shouldn't feel that you have to compete with because you're happy for them when things go well and when good things are happening in their lives. And I mean, look, my mom always said, there's always going to be somebody better than you. There's always going to be somebody smarter, more beautiful, more successful, wealthier. There's always going to be somebody who's better than you. You're never going to be the best at everything. It's impossible. And so, yeah, I can honestly say that I really do not have jealousy, for example,
Yeah.
for my friends. I could say one of the things right now is that a lot of my girlfriends are becoming a grandmother. And obviously, I'm not going to become a grandmother anytime
Well, this
soon. And
only
that
shows
is
you're
something, but
younger.
it's not jealousy.
Yes. No, I know
It's not
this
just,
is normal.
no, it's friends my age. Yeah, it's friends that are my age who are becoming, yes, I have one girlfriend, she already have five grandchildren.
Wow.
So and then I'm going like, oh, I wish I would have grandchildren myself, but it's going to be so long still. But that's not jealousy. That's kind of like, you're happy for them, obviously.
Normal. These are
Yeah,
normal
that's
things
the only
in
thing.
life that, as you said, they should also wish for you. But I wanted to ask you, because you said there shouldn't be the competition in real friendship. Have you walked away from certain friendships? And at what level do you feel a friendship is either toxic or not adding value, or would you walk away from it with women?
When I feel that they are very, yes, when I feel that they are jealous of me for whatever reason, because I always say everybody has their own story to tell and to live,
Mm.
that's when I walk away. And yeah, I haven't done it that often, but I've done it once or twice. Sometimes friendships don't stay the same. Like we've been talking about childhood friends at some point. You could stay very close with childhood friends, but sometimes your lives just evolve and turn out totally different from each other. And you don't have that many, things in common anymore. So it can happen that people are, kind of that there's distance being created between you and that it becomes more difficult to stay friends with someone. But yes, I have in the past when people were very jealous and made it clear, I have turned my back. Yeah. How
Yeah.
about you?
Yes, yeah, that too, yes. But I love that you pointed out how, the childhood friends, because in my life, it's always been a myth that these are the true friends to keep. And so, because I traveled, because of my life, how it got that I had to leave Lebanon and come to the US, and I had to travel back and forth, I always, lost good friends I met and had to make new ones and had to make new ones again, being in a transit city like DC. So I was always sad, like I never was able to keep my childhood friends or high school or even university. As a Lebanese, any Lebanese person watching would relate that we're all scattered all over the world. And also as a Lebanese, they all have this big group. They used to, I never had that, this big group for the weekends, for the outings, for the nightlife. So it's made me sad up until I started making my own friends as an adult. Um, and I realized that they're even better because of exactly what you say. You have different priorities, you've discovered yourself, you have different interests. So these friends, they're sort of like the people you're picking versus the cousins you grow up with or the friends you grow up with. For
Yeah.
they kind of been forced on you. They're in your classroom, they're in your family, they're in your circle, whether you choose to or not. But really, those you're picking as an
Yeah.
adult are far more rewarding in friendships, I found. But yes, also I
Mhm.
have to walk away from a certain friendships. One of them, the main one, where I really found to be a lot of jealousy. And what I also didn't like is that there was a lot of double standard, the complaining and the nagging, and the people who are jealous, but they act as though they're fearing envy, and they're fearing bad, evil eyes. So,
Yeah, yeah,
and sometimes it gets
yeah.
also,
Oh, the evil eyes. Yes. The evil eyes are interesting in the Middle East. You do. Can you explain that for a second, the whole thing of the evil eye? Because I have an evil eye as well. I actually sometimes wear an evil eye and I wear a hamsa in
yeah,
summertime together. And my Lebanese friend says that's too much. You can't wear them all together.
yeah. So it's not just Middle East. The Greeks are very superstitious, and they wear
That's true. Yeah.
the evil
Yeah.
eye. I think it's cultural,
Yeah.
eh? Even though all the Abrahamic faith do talk about jealousy and that the vibe of it. In the church we have so many like prayers for that, but a priest would never like to see someone wearing the eye, because
The
the
eye.
representation
Yeah.
of Christ,
True.
the cross. And
Yeah.
so I was superstitious, that I'll tell you. And I always described myself as, yeah, the superstitious Catholic, because it was contradictory.
Yeah.
But it was like, what made
Yeah.
it confusing is that, but the church has prayers against that. So, so the bad
Yeah.
evil, right, to answer you first is, when you feel that certain people are jealous, intentionally or not, sometimes, from you, from anything, your home, and their vibe is
Yeah.
destructive. You see it. Like, I'll give you an example. You were planning on doing something and you shared it with a friend, and it, goes bad. The plan falls apart. We were once having a big party at our summer house in the mountains. This was years and years ago. And everyone was dancing, and I was just like, looking at everyone. And there was a small, like, not cup,
Group.
but where you put the pistachios, and like a
Yeah.
ball glass.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it got
Yeah.
empty, and I was looking, and I was about to go and to fill it up, and it was sitting on the table, and it just broke in half. That's what we call bad evil eye, and
Ah,
yeah, it just
okay.
broke, mirrors breaking, things
Yeah.
breaking, you buy them new, a
Yeah.
car that you buy
Yeah.
new, and
Yeah. Yeah.
you crash or something happens.
Yeah.
And
That's the evil eye.
that's
Yeah.
the evil
So
eye.
that's why you have to wear the evil eye to protect you from the bad evil eye. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
I mean, for people, if you really want to go, follow like your faith, uh, you would wear, if you were a Christian, a cross, because I'll tell you what
Okay.
happened. I tried to. It was really controlling me. It was scaring me, and it took years. And I prayed that I get rid of it, because it was exhausting me. Because we all have
Uh-huh.
people who envy us, and especially after I got ill, and I said to myself, I don't want to be like that anymore. And it was, you know indirectly, it was like an accident. I stumbled upon like a book or something I was reading, and it was very obvious. Okay, if you believe in it, even though it is there, but if you believe in it as in it has power, that means it even has power over God. And it was that day I
Okay.
walked away. I was like, no, I choose God. So,
Right.
and it's
Okay.
such a
Yeah.
relief. It was such a relief, to get rid of that superstition. But I'll tell you something funny that's cultural to the Middle
Yeah.
East. They say the people who have evil eyes, so that who envy you, they have
Yeah.
generally blue or green eyes. I don't know. Yeah,
Well, that's because it's the everybody has brown eyes, probably,
maybe.
right?
And they
Well,
have
maybe a
uh,
little bit.
they have distant teeth. They have a gap in their middle teeth there. And they have the
Hey.
and they have
Yeah.
the chin of the courgette, the very thin, long chin.
Oh,
So I'm clear. I'm in the clear,
that
Katrien.
is so funny.
It
That's
is.
funny. That
It
is
is.
funny. Yeah. So that is something that I just learned that I didn't know. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So, but to get back to the friendships, you
Yes.
were mentioning very quickly that, friends within your family, or do you believe in that? Because, sometimes you hear, and this happens especially with teenage girls, sometimes you hear mothers say, "Oh, my daughters are my best friend," or the daughters are saying, "My mom is my best friend." And I feel that there is something dysfunctional about that, because the role of a woman, of a mother, is different than that of a best friend, in my opinion. Maybe it's because I don't have any daughters. Who knows? There I go judging. But yeah, what's your opinion on that? Do you have family members who have become close friends to
No,
you?
so I agree with you. And growing up, actually, what I hear and what you really learn also through therapists and psychologists, and you read what's actually known to be a fact. Maybe now it's really different with millennials and new parenting in the West mainly, but there's a boundary between parents and children. And there's a clash
Mhm.
between like son and father, daughter and mother during a certain time of their
Mother.
years, teenage years, etc. So no, I cannot say that we grew up to be friends. My mom was, and she still is, if she could, when she could, what they say in French, maman poule, so over protective.
Mhm.
Um,
Bearing.
yes, and
Hmm.
there's the strict side. It's the old-fashioned parenting. So you cannot be friends like that with a parent. About
No.
siblings, I
No.
don't know. I see some brothers and sisters. I think if they were closer in age, they have the same group of friends. That's nice. That's something I didn't get to have because, I'm the eldest and I have a bigger age gap with my brothers. It gets a
Yeah.
bit better when they grow up, but then it also vanishes because it's really like
Right.
a significant age gap.
Yeah.
Cousins,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, cousins, I mean, because
Yeah.
you grow up
Yeah.
together, if you
Yes.
maintain, if
Yes.
there's still a common ground, if on both ends the relationship matures and still shares something, it can even
Yes.
be a better
Yeah.
friendship.
Yes.
Or go a
Yes.
separate
I
way.
used to have a cousin. Yeah. I used to have a cousin, a male cousin, actually, who I was incredibly close with. And I actually, he was more of a brother to me, and I was more of a sister to him than his real sister was. Unfortunately, because of the moving and the international life that I led, we kind of lost track of one another, and our lives just totally changed. And now we're not anymore. But it was a very nice thing to have at
Yeah.
the time.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Because
bet.
you obviously know each other very well and you know your backgrounds very well. Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course. And that's what distance does. It gives you new people, not necessarily good or bad, and it takes away both the good and the bad. So it's a loss and it's
Mhm.
sad when it takes away the good people. I wanted to
Mhm.
like see what you think about one last point before we wrap up. What do you
Mhm.
feel about these new online friendships and support groups between women strangers? How real are they?
Yeah.
Can something develop from them? And how daring are you to share personal with just these let's say digital tribes?
Well, so I am part of a one digital tribe, which is my vestibular group. But I have to say, people don't really get personal on that. It's really talking about your health, and we're sharing information on the health stuff. I don't think I would have the tendency to become friends with somebody that I've just met online. And as a matter of fact, uh, our son and we were talking about this last year because he was on a train with AI, you can have these conversations now, right? And he was telling me that he had seen a girl on the train, a young girl, and she was just having a chat with AI, with, her supposed AI friend. And he said how sad it really was. And that is the big danger nowadays of those kind of things. So
Yeah.
no, I'm not an online person or an AI person for friendships. No.
Yeah, same here. Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
other groups that are specific to certain experiences in life, like health or let's say your career, creative groups, that's different. You're not getting personal, but that whole AI plus these digital help apps, I don't want to name one very famous in the US, where they're just advertising any kind of stress as a depression to young people and
Oh,
telling them they can help them through this app versus like telling them go talk to your
mm,
family. Do you have friends? Talk to your friends. That they're
mhm,
really all these hormonal changes of teenage years, they're advertising them as though it's a depression. And there's just apps
mhm.
for this, and they go and they want to talk to a stranger. I mean,
That's
how
normal.
that's even more
Yeah.
dangerous, you know?
Yeah, I feel there's something unnatural about all of that. And you might, maybe they say because there is more distance and because you don't meet live, um, that they have more of a tendency to be open with one another. But there's this level of trust that you don't, I mean, you don't know what these people do with whatever it is that you
Yeah,
say online.
yeah, exactly.
Uh, so yeah, I share those concerns with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one thing for sure is this is a beautiful friendship.
Yes,
Thank you for your
true,
friendship and for
true.
always being a great friend and
Thank you too.
listening to me complaining.
Well, we have to be able to do that. Listen, friendship is not just about the good times. Friendship is also about the bad times. And I have had friends who have had to, well, actually not too many, but a couple of them, or and one in particular, my friend in Paris again, she has guided me through a lot of really bad times. And I have complained to her and cried every single day and but the other way around as well. There's been times that I was there for her every single day as well. So it's a give and take.
Give and take. It has to be reciproc. It has to be a give and take.
Mhm, mhm.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
okay, this is the end of our podcast
Mhm.
today. We kindly ask you to please subscribe to the YouTube channel so that we can keep growing our viewers and our community. And that way also YouTube suggests the video to more people and they can see it. And stay tuned as we will be coming back in May with something new and exciting. Any final
Yes.
thoughts, Katrien? For me,
No,
I'm
I mean, for the friends who are checking in and who are listening to this, thank you very much for your friendship. It means the world to me.
same here. Thank you to all the friends, men and women, so that no one
Mhm,
is is
mhm,
left behind who have been
mhm.
there for me, especially the last couple of years. I truly value your friendship. Thank you,
Yeah,
everyone. Bye.
thank you. Bye.